Hello, Sagittarius. Thank you for tuning in to this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Bonefire Tarot by Gabby Angus West. For supportive oracle cards, I'm using Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards by Tori Hartman, illustrated by Gretchen. There's her last name, so I don't butcher it too bad. Okay. I already shuffled. Let's start off with these. Not that you can see these. I don't know. Can you see them? That's what I got. Yeah, okay. Okay. What do we have here, Sagittarius? I see a lot of red and orange going on, by the way, which is, I think, good for Sagittarius. When I'm coming into this, I'm seeing service, faith, and Queen of Coins, which is Queen of Pentacles, which to me talks about a very strong level of devotion of whatever you're dealing with. Especially the service and the Queen of Pentacles, which is Queen of Coins in this, same difference. And then the faith here, that it's kind of like this is just what has to be done, or the faith that things will either get better or pan out the way they need to, or that somebody will help you. There's some type of faith element here, kind of like the work you're putting into this will balance out in some way. But it's, when I'm feeling Pentacles, Coins here, it kind of feels like it's a bit draining, or it's a bit like one of those things where you just kind of constantly have to do it, and you're just kind of like, it's almost like at the same time every day. It's like, oh, it's noon, I got to do this. Oh, it's 2 o'clock, I got to do this. Oh, it's 6 p.m., I got to do this. And it's just so repetitive. It's not something I feel like you're really enjoying, but you have faith that it's going to work out in your favor, or it's the right thing to do, something like that. I don't like the energy. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel really enjoyable. I'm not really getting joy with it. But while you're doing this, someone else is taking a break. I almost feel like you took over something for someone else. The question is, did you really mean to? Because in the environment, completion is here for someone else. I almost feel like it's almost like you're temporarily, or you believe it's temporarily, or you're taking over for somebody else. But in all reality, somebody else is kind of like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with this anymore. It's not like they're telling you they're not coming back. They're just not. They're just not. The way this works out is very interesting to me, because they're done there, and they're just not coming back. Whether they intended that or not, they're not coming back. Some things change really quickly. The Wheel of Fortune goes in their favor, whoever's this is, and I'm getting they're going towards something else, and they're getting very immersed in something else. This was supposed to be a temporary thing for you. What I'm getting here is that you can't really get out of it. And it's not like you can't physically just stop. It's kind of like, to you, it's just like somebody has to do this. Somebody has to do this. The other person obviously can't. They're out of it. They're out. They're gone. They're gone. And I'm doing it. I'm doing it as it is. I can't just walk away. For some reason, you just can't walk away. The acceptance here is kind of like, it almost feels a little default-like. Kind of like somebody has to take the kids to school, the other person bailed out on you, so you're like, well, the kids still have to go to school, so I have to do it then. I've been doing it, so I guess I have to keep doing it. It's really strange when it goes to the next little level here, because you're trying to figure out if there's some way you can actually change this up. You're like, all right, if I have to do this, then I'm going to own it. I feel like that's your next level up. Like, all right, wait a minute. Since I have to take this on, the kids have to go to school, I've been doing it, I guess. I didn't realize it was going to be a permanent thing, but it's starting to look like it. Perfection is popping in with the Two of Swords, kind of like, well, if I'm going to own this, how can I make this mine? How can I change this around so at least I can stomach it a little better, so it's not that bad? It's kind of like when you're taking a really bitter medicine and you take it with sugar. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, how can I improve this so at least I can handle it a little better to my liking? But you got the Two of Swords here, kind of like I can't really shake this up too much, but what can I do to make this better for me? And the weird card here in the middle is the mysticism, kind of like. And it's a weird card in my opinion because it looks kind of like a specter, but mysticism is supposed to have a little bit of mystery with it, right? It's almost like you're trying to own it, kind of like, I guess I'm stuck with it, but it's also kind of like, how did I end up here? It's kind of like, how did I end up doing this all of a sudden? Like, how did this happen? How did I end up doing this? That's the mysticism. It's almost like that other person, when they're gone, it's like, how did they mean for that to happen? You're in this moment of question, like, did they mean for that to happen? Things have to change. I don't think whatever this was where this person moved on and they have completion here, I don't think it's permanent, but it does seem like it's going to hold on for a while longer is what they're warning you about. Because you have complacency. Like when I'm feeling this card, I don't feel like you're really not enjoying this, but you're also kind of like, it's almost like you're kind of like, how did I get stuck with this? And I feel like at some point you're going to have to try to get this person to come back and regain their own. Like they're going to have to take it back over. And I feel like that's where this is going to end up. Whoever you took this over for, I think they're going to come back. They may think that they had completion here and they went towards something else. They didn't want to come back towards it. But I feel like they're going to get this back sooner or later. But I also feel like you have to let this person know, like, listen, I was taking this over for a temporary moment. I can't keep doing this. If you can't take it back, you have to find somebody else to take this over. Because I can't just keep doing this. And I'm getting the Six of Swords here in the environment, like somebody else is coming in. I know this is a weird energy for this card, but I almost feel like somebody else is coming in to relieve you. It's like somebody else is helping you move on from this energy that you don't like, this situation that you don't like. I almost feel like someone else is coming in on this boat to relieve you from this stress. Like I feel like that's weird for this to happen, but it's in the environment. Somebody else is going to come over and take over. It may not be the original person, now that I'm feeling it more. It may not be the original person, but it could. It's a general reading. Take it for what it is. Somebody else is going to have to come in and at least help you with it. The question is, are you going to let it go? It's ironic, because at the end, I feel like somebody else is coming in to kind of relieve you. But then all of a sudden you're like, well, you know, it has to be done correctly. Like you're a little, by this point you're a little bit invested in the situation, and you're kind of like, well, I don't want to just let it go, just to, you know, cast it to the wind. Good luck. Hope it works out. You're a little invested with it at the end of this, and you've got self-worth with the renewal, with the impatience. The person who's coming in to relieve you, I don't feel like you have complete confidence in. And you're like, I just can't release this without knowing it's going to go correctly. It's very ironic at the end, because you get the ability to walk away from this. You actually do want to walk away from this, but you're still emotionally invested enough that you're like, well, I can't just let this just, you know, good luck, bye, good luck. I can't just do that. I have to make sure it's going to still work out okay. I don't want to do it. I want to leave it, but I can't just leave caution to the wind and hope it works out and bye. I have to make sure it's going to actually sustain itself, and the person taking over is going to do the right thing. This is very, like, I feel like this is kind of putting you through the ringer a little bit. I feel like your heart, when I'm feeling all this red and orange here, especially with the red, I'm feeling your heart is connected to this more than you'd actually want it to be. I really feel like your heart is connected to this more than you want it to be. And it's kind of like, I feel like that's why you're involved with it, because your heart is connected with it. and that's why it's hard for you to let it go, even though you literally want to let it go, is because it has to still work out. It has to be okay. You know, if it's not going to actually pan out in the end, or if the person taking over isn't going to do the right thing, or you don't trust them to actually keep on things the way they need to, I feel like you're going to have a hard time letting this go. How else can this work for you? I feel like when you have this moment here where you're trying to own it, you know what I mean? And you got the Two of Swords, like it's like you don't know really what to do to own it more, and you're like, wait a minute, do I really want to own this more? This is the point where you want to simplify this as much as possible. At least if you're gonna, for example, if you're gonna leave instructions for somebody else to take over, you want to simplify this and make this very like child's play to take over as much as possible. It might not be completely child's play. I almost feel like you want to prioritize and make a list of like just instructions, like almost like, you know, step in instructions. If you can't make it, if somebody else has to step in, they can go, oh, this is what has to happen. Oh, this is how you do that. Oh, okay, I can do that. I feel like you want to simplify it and leave instructions. I feel like that would make this go easier when you get to that point where you get to walk away. Like, simplify it. I really feel like you want to simplify this. I'm not saying you're going to be able to actually enact a simplified measure when you actually keep going, but at least if the person who you're trying to hand this off to has instructions, simple instructions, like to do the basics, to get the basics going with whatever the situation is, I feel like that could relieve a lot of stress for you, and you could let go some more and hand this off a little easier. Because I have to be honest, I'm not sure if you will. Some of you will, some of you won't. And it's all going to be based on the person you're handing it off to, and if you can trust or have faith in them. I actually feel if you simplify and make those instructions when you have a moment, that gives you a better chance of releasing this and feeling that confidence of letting it go. Alright, I think we're there. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.